The pictures he took his friend to Mombasa. They had fun together. Then they took photos.
And this friend is a lady?
Not a lady, a man, a gentleman like him. You know there is rape in marriage. Watu wanajua hivyo, lakini watu wanashakanga ati hakuna rape in marriage. There is. Yes. Sasa mtu akikuja kunyonga na piro, you are not even breathing. He is doing that thing when you are not breathing.
Really?
Yes, you can even die.
Toko family, when you see me seated here, you know the extent to which we can go to bring you stories. And this is one of a kind, and that is why we are in this setup. Let's listen in to the story of one, Faith. It's not her real name because she will reveal some intrigues about wives who are married by millionaires. Let's get to hear it. Faith.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you kukubali kukuja hapa kuongea na sisi. And lakini we apologize for the circumstances, but you understand why we are here like this.
Yes.
Now, tuambie jina lako, tumeshasema ni Faith.
Faith. Yes. Yes, I love the name.
What do you do? You have a family, right?
Yes, I have a family. I have 3 children. 2 boys and 1 girl. Na kwa saa hii sifanyi kazi. Lakini some housewife, lakini kitambo nilikuwa nafanya biashara.
Okay. Now, when you sent us a message, you said that whatever you're going through represents what many others are going through.
Yes.
What is that, and which category of people are we talking about here?
Okay. I'm representing these millionaire ladies, these women that are married by millionaires. We pass through a lot.
We will get to the details one by one. Let's take your case. For how long have you been married? For about, don't tell us the specific number of years, but for about how long, approximate?
Same approximately 16 years.
And how was it in the beginning? Did it change along the way, or what happened?
Yes, I met this man. He had nothing. He was staying with his mother. And because of love, I followed her. Not immediately after school. I stayed like 3 years after Form 4. Then I got married. And the marriage was good. Aliajiriwa pahali na akaanza kufanya kazi. After tumeolewa kama muda tuseme wa mwaka mmoja. At that time I was having my baby, my first born daughter. Lakini kukaa this man changed after he got money. Let me say after he got money. Na akasheji. Lakini hii sheji haikuwa vyenye naweza, it was not that bad, but he had some, he was doing some things I couldn't understand.
Like what?
Like kuna venye alianza kuajiri wasichana kwa biashara yake. Ni biashara anafanya. And venye aliajiri that lady, ndio nilianza kuona changes. Akaanza kukua mkali, akaanza kututesa, akaanza kutikataza kwenda kufanya kitu. Nikiajiriwa pahali, like I remember there is one time I was told by one man where I was taking my school. He told me he want to employ me as a secretary. So as a good wife, I told my husband that there is this man where my daughter was going to school. But he told me that man wants me. And he want to nini, anataka kuniwekea biashara. So unaona hiyo kazi ikapotelea hivyo. Sikuajiriwa because I was submissive at that time. And this is why I'm telling women, don't be this too submissive. Usikuwe too submissive ati sana. Kazi kama ni kazi, fanya kazi. Unaona sasa hiyo kazi yangu iliyopotelea hivyo, na nikaenda nyumba, nikagojea niwekee biashara. Hakuweka. Nikakaa, my brother akaona nateseka. Ndio hata kama amekwambia usifanye kazi, but he's not providing.
He wasn't providing.
Yeah. Like we women want nini, tunatakanga vitu. We women want our money for our upkeep. But he's not giving you.
And looking good.
Yes. So huyu sasa nikaona nini, my brother akaona nateseka, akaniwekea kabiashara. But this man, because he's so nini, ako sasa hawa wanaume wako na pesa. They will do anything to frustrate you. Hiyo biashara nayo akafunga. Nikarudi tu nyumbani tena. Sasa na hapo sasa tumetoka Lentos, tumeenda kwa nyumba yetu. Sasa kuingia kwa nyumba yetu, that was the nini. Hiyo sasa ndio imefanya mambo ibadilike kabisa. Juu kwa hii nyumba, hataki utoke nje, hataki uongee na watu. You are in your own cocoon.
You have friends, don't you?
Yes, I have friends, but hata friends anajaribu. Anajaribu everything waondoke.
Including your friends, I mean your people that you
your friends, your family members, he tries everything so that you can stay on your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're not working, you're just staying in the house.
Yes, you are not working, you are in the house. And he doesn't want you to go out. Yani you are living just. Hapa sasa ninasemanga ni Mungu tu anakutoa. Juu kuna wamama wanakaa, wanatesekea hapo da. But in my case, me I had to niseme aje, ni kama nakataa vyenye nataka nikae, me I refuse.
Okay.
I refused because hapa anajaribu kuondoke your family members. You know it will be possible. Yes.
So you are not visiting your relatives? Were they coming to visit you?
They cannot even come to visit you because they fear this man.
And why do they fear him?
They are fearing because they might come and he doesn't talk to them.
Okay. Another thing?
Sasa another thing, ni hapa tumekaa, nimeona ameanza kukua na vita. Anatutusi kwanza in front of children. Na ile matusi kwanza ilinikasirisha sana. Ni hii alituambia na my daughter. But I think he was just trying to find something to hide. Sasa niseme mzee akikutoa kwa bedroom yenu, your matrimonial room, where else can you go? You will go to your daughter's room. Juu amekutoa kwa room ya?
Mbona alikutoa kwa bedroom? Matrimonial bedroom yenu.
Ni hizi tu hasila. Unaona hasila? Anakuondoa kwa kwa room. Anakuja yani na narrative. Ni vitu anataka, yani anajaribu yani ukue anakuharibia sifa first kwa family members wake. Anajaribu kila kitu frustrate.
So before tuende hizo vita, ukisema anakuharibia sifa, anasema nini?
Anaenda anasema hivyo, umeondoka kwa bedroom ya, lakini nani alikutoa? Si ni yeye tu amekutoa. Anasema humvurigwa, amekutoa kwa hiyo room amefunga, utafanya nini?
Okay. So when you went to your daughter's bedroom, what did he say? What did
yes,
he do?
he said that we do something with my daughter inside his room.
Like what?
What can I do with my daughter in my room? You know, that was tormenting to my daughter. It was very bad.
What did he mean?
I don't know. That is why I have come to know, to realize he was trying to hide his things. Vyenye anataka ni kama alikuwa anataka kusema we are lesbians.
With your daughter?
Yeah. Huh? But he's the one who is yes. And I can remember giving you the pictures. Yeah.
Please tell us about the pictures.
The pictures, he took his friend to Mombasa. They had fun together. Then they took photos.
And this friend is a lady?
Not a lady, a man, a gentleman, like him. But this man, I was seeing this man when there is something in my family. Like I remember one instance, there was home church. Watu wa kanisa walikuwa wanakuja. So I saw this man at first, but how he was looking me, it is not normal. It's like he's jealous of something.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that friend of yours.
That friend of his. Yeah.
He's looking at you like.
Yeah, I don't know him. Somebody comes into a family, you don't know him. He has met you just once. Maybe he knew me, but I didn't knew him. But he's looking you like he's jealous, like he's, I don't know. He's angry with you for no reason, because I don't know him. But then I saw the pictures they took together.
What kind of pictures were they? Because we cannot show them. But describe the pictures.
The pictures, they were in each other, holding each other. And that, I don't know, maybe people will say that, but men holding each other in a very compromising manner, that is not good.
How did you come to know about the pictures?
I saw them inside our room.
In your room?
Yes. In fact, he has just kept them there, where my daughter is seeing, and the sons are seeing. So how are these people, children, looking at their father? You know, they will be.
Well, the pictures printed.
Yes.
Okay.
They took pictures. These pictures that are taken
by paparazzi, the people who walk around taking pictures.
Yes.
And printed them.
Yes, they were printed. No, they were printed. In fact, they are printed.
Okay.
And there are many.
Yeah, because you sent me about 3.
Yes.
We saw them. So, did you ask him about this friend that I went with to have fun?
No. Because this man is the man that I don't know. There are these men who say that wives don't talk. Na unaona hiyo mambo imepitwa na wakati. Hiyo ni mambo ya kitambo, ya wazee wa kitambo wenye walikuwa wanasema wanawake hawezi ongea pahali. So I can't ask because I fear being beaten. I don't.
Does he beat you?
Yes, he was beating me before.
And then he stopped?
He stopped.
Okay. What else is out of hand, or out of the ordinary?
That so those pictures, they took pictures. Then this day we are having this church. This church in my home. They go to a supermarket, into a mall, and they buy ati amepelekwa. You niliuliza my son, my last born son, where were you? Akaniambia ni baba alikuwa amepelekwa na huyo mwingine kununuliwa nguo. So how can a man take the other man to buy clothes?
For him?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, my friend can take me, we go for shopping, as I shop for myself, or I can take him to go and maybe, help him choose. But this time you're saying that he was taking him to buy for him.
Yes.
This friend of yours was taking your husband to the mall to purchase clothes for him.
Yes,
And
this is according to my son. It's what my son told me.
Did he
But-
come home with the new clothes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
How did you feel?
I felt very bad, but because I'm the one who should take him to do shopping. Yes.
But this time now, he had not gone. Let's make it very clear. He hadn't gone to do shopping. He had been taken
To be bought clothes.
Okay. Interesting. What else have you noticed that is out of ordinary?
Sasa out of ordinary ni hiyo tu na vyenye wanashikania mabiashara. But there is one lady, you know, see, I told you I talked to ladies who are married by this man, and he told me they have a kikundi, a group. It's like a cult. Because these men are having wives from Nini. They are having wives who are also millionaires. Like in my instance, mine has a lady who is married, an old lady.
Is an old lady is married,
Yes.
but still has a relationship or an affair with your husband.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And they are doing business together. Like
And-
they are building together.
And that is within a group.
Eh.
So that is what they do in that group, or what?
I think that's what I was told by that lady. But in my instant, I know my husband has an affair with that lady. And this lady, to make the matters worse, he was once my friend. We were buying clothes together at Isiri. Then we were traveling together, we buy clothes, then we come back. Not knowing he was my husband's side chick. But I did know. I came to know it through my mom. Sasa mama alikuja town akaniambia huyo mama is not your friend. Lakini mimi sikuwa najua ni mama ananiambia aje.
You know, you said something that stuck in my mind, that it's like they are in a cult. Are there other things that you see, other weird things or behaviors that you see with your husband and probably with that group?
Yes, like my husband has started doing some things that are funny. He says that he can't eat my food. I might poison him. Then he says, there are some leaves. He bathes with some leaves. I find some leaves in his room. Some kind of leaves, I don't know. But I once asked an old woman, hizo leaves ni za nini? Akaniambia hata yeye ajui. So those kind of things.
And does he provide in the house? Does he take his responsibilities?
Yes. Tuseme kulipa school fees, analipa. But come to provide for us, not at all.
What do you mean? He's a millionaire, isn't he?
Yes. But he takes his boys to shopping. Me and my daughter, we have been suffering. Yes. Because he can't provide for us. He can't give us money. It's just this last term I saw him giving my daughter money.
Pocket money? Or
Yeah, pocket money. Hiyo ya kumlipia school fees and pocket money he gives. But unajua we women have our needs.
okay.
You stay in the house from January to December without his money.
So I think it is at this point you should also now tell our audience umejificha ukikuja kufanya interview.
Yes.
Why?
Juu staki ajue.
There is a time, according to the message that you sent us, there was a time that there was no food in the house.
Yes.
It was difficult to understand and believe that that could happen.
Yes.
What was going on?
There is this time he was not even buying food. In fact, we were surviving by my mother's grace. He was sending us food. My mother was at that time near our, he was just in the community, but now he has amehamia Bali. So at that time we were surviving by my mother's mercy. Niye alikuwa anatuprovidea, but there's this time this man bought this uga, yellow uga. Me, I didn't know what that uga was. Mi hata sikuwa lakini ilikuwa yellow uga, hata ukipika ugali it's yellow. And I came to ask one lady, hiyo uga ni gani? Aliniambia ni uga ya farasi.
Hiyo ilikuwa imeletwa, I mean, okay, I should just first ask kama kuna farasi.
Hapana.
So hiyo unga ilikuwa ya kufanya nini?
Ni yetu walikuwa wametuambia mtasafaifu na hiyo, na hata nunua vitunguu, you will not buy nyanyas, you will not buy nini. By the way, I have a small garden. By the time I niko nimelima, niko na tuboga hapo. So that was not an issue, but hata na kitunguu ya nini iko. But alisema tukule hiyo uga na hizo nini, hizo nini za shamba sukuma.
But Faith, you said he's a millionaire.
Yes.
Why is it happening like that? I mean, what is going on?
I don't know. That is the problem, because I can't even understand, because this is the person who is even famous in our area.
So out there, what kind of a picture is it about him?
He's very good. In fact, to outsiders, he's very good, because he can invite people in even the neighborhood, and they cook for them.
What about you? I mean, like how hold a feast for them?
Yeah, hold a feast for them. He can do it.
But he is
And they buy juices, buy everything for them.
But what about you, the wife?
But
what about you, the wife?
Hapana. Hata si mi wife. Unajua, a millionaire kid should be looked after very well. But wake, they know how to survive in hardship. Like my daughter. My daughter has passed through a lot. With the hearts of that man.
She cannot say that she's a millionaire's daughter.
No. In fact, if you ask my daughter who your father is, who is your father, he doesn't even say it.
Is it that bad?
Yes.
And when you talk to your fellow millionaire wives or millionaires' wives, what do they tell you?
They tell me that's how they are also surviving through hardships. But when I look at mine, I see it's worse.
So you told us you've been married for about 15 years, 15, 16. Would you consider quitting marriage?
Like now, I won't consider quitting because he has because he has stopped some things like beating. We know that is the thing that you should go and you should leave because of that. Because kupigwa si kuzuri. Naweza ambia mama hivyo, mtu anapigana, you should quit as quickly as possible. But I come to understand those women. Why they don't quit? It's because when you go, this man will never provide. And you want your children to go to school, you want them to go to school, have good life. That is why they don't.
So allow me to ask you, you're married. You suspect that he could be with another man and another affair with another lady. Do you have intimacy with him?
No, not at all. And if you ask other women, it's like that, because the other day there's a man who was telling me that there is a man who is living in his own room and the wife in the other room. I know in that area there could be so many women are passing through that. Like me, in my instance, I stay in my daughter's room. And he stays on his room because he has removed my clothes from his room, and then says he has another family. Yeah. So he don't even care about it. So you live on your own and you survive.
So how do you survive if you're not working and he's not allowing you to work? You're not doing business. You are a housewife 24/7. And I don't know if even to call you a housewife or to refer to you as a housewife, because if you're living separately, who are you in that house?
I don't even know. Maybe I'm just a stranger to him. But this man is he's a good those men are narcissists. Because when there is this instant, there was a wedding in our area. He has left me with my son at home. Ameshukua gari yake na ameenda. Unajua kuna magari mingi.
Oh, si moja.
He has matatus, like tuseme 7 matatus, lorries, personal cars, like three personal cars. Like now I have left a car in my own compound.
When you want to go somewhere, is there a driver to drive you, to take you, or
no,
do you know how to drive?
No.
Can you use those vehicles?
No, you cannot. That is why I'm telling you, there is this instant, there was a wedding in our area. Ametuasha kwa nyumba tukiprepare, hata tulikuwa tumeprepare. Ameshukua gari, ameondoka. Ameenda kwa hiyo bibi harusi alikuwa anatolewa hapo tu. So sisi tumetoka na kijana yangu, tunatembea polepole along the road. And there are these cars. Now the convoy of the wedding. He is in front because he is the one who is taking photos, because he has a big pickup. Ni anashukua gari yake ndio inashukua video. So he sees us. Do you know what he did? Alisimamisha. Convoy ilitusimamia. Na alituacha wapi?
Kwa nyumba.
Sasa hao watu watafikiria aje? What do they think? They think he is a good man. Na nakuuliza kwanza mbele yao wanaume, kuna wanaume wako kwa gari yake. Na nakuuliza kwa nini hamuku nini? Kwa nini hamkuniambia mnatoka? But he has seen you coming out.
Oh my goodness.
He's a good pretender.
But do you also have, I want to believe that there is also the other side of the coin. Like we have women who are married to millionaires and they're living a good life.
Yes. I know they are there.
What is it?
There are those women who are living a luxury life, let me say. But even if they are living in luxury life, because I have some few, they are not happy. Because this man has bought you even cars, like 2. Yani, he's giving you a lot of money, but you don't have peace. Because he is not staying there.
Okay.
We ladies don't want even money too much.
What do you want?
We want the presence of the man.
But money is also important.
Yes.
So your issue is that it is there, but it is not, and it is taking him away from you. When you are living together in that house, how many bedrooms is it?
5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms. And you're not living in, you're not in the same bedroom. You're not living as husband and wife. Are there things that you fear about that kind of setup or setting?
Yes, I fear. Because this, lakini ni before. Because this man was brutal. You could fear, he can even, he was keeping some, to say, burgers inside the room. So you have fear. Alafu this man comes and locks himself. You don't know what he is thinking. You know, you will live in fear.
So now, what is the solution? What are the possible solutions to your situation and the situations of your friends?
So now possible solutions. Tuseme sasa naweza shindwa kusema possible solutions. Ni tegemeo tu la Mungu. Alafu kama mtu amekuitikia uende ufanye kazi, you do your work. Find something, do it. Lakini kuna wengi wanataka kufanya kitu kama mimi. But you see, I was like a foolish person. Kitambo. I was not keeping something for myself. So when you want to do something for yourself, you can't do it because you don't have the capital. Unataka capital lakini huna. Unataka kuanza kitu lakini huna capital. That is the problem. Lakini kama uko na nini, kama uko na kitu, anza biashara, fanya na usishindanie na yeye.
Have you tried talking to his parents or your in-laws involving the family or your relatives, your side and his side?
This is now the problem. At the in-laws, in-laws, may God see you. There are in-laws that are very, I would say, demonic.
Oh no. Why would you use such a strong word?
Like this, there is this sister to the husband. We were flats before he even built that house. He used to come to my place where kwenye tulikuwa rent. The sister to the husband.
Your sister-in-law?
My sister-in-law. Alikuwa anakuja sana. Tunaongea hata tunakaa mpaka saa 7, saa 8. But this time he comes to my family when yani venye tumehama, amekuja, ameona nyumba yenye tumejengewa. Do you know what this lady did? Hakuongea. I was at town. Wakati huo nilikuwa na msichana nilikuwa nimeajiri. Sasa amekuja, nimeambiwa kuna mgeni nyumbani. So I rush to see the mgeni. Nakuta watoto nje, sasa sinajua ni watoto wa sister-in-law. Naingia namsalimia kwa furaha. But hakuwa na furaha. Adai nashindwa nini baya. But nikafikiria maybe kwake kwenye alitoka there is a problem. So namuacha naenda nawapikia sha. Masaa inafika ya kupika sapa na wapikia sa. Sasa my husband ameingia. Wanaketi, sasa mimi nikasema washa nigojee waongee. Juu ni sistake maybe amuelezee shida nini. Lakini wanaboga tu kawaida. Lakini mimi nikaona hataki kuongea na mimi sana. So nikaenda nikapanga watoto walale. Na nikawaasha, nikakuja sasa nikasema mimi nimeenda kula. Juu kama mtu haongei, si I just quit. Abia ni brother yake, what is the problem? Naye bwanangu akasema mimi uniashi hapa. Akanifuata. Si sister yake maasho hapa peke yake. Mimi nikarudi sitting room. Nikakuja nikamwambia utaenda kulala? Utaenda twende nikuonyeshe kwenye utalala. Haongei. Sasa huyu msichana wa kazi
akakwambia,
akaniita. Alikuwa ameshangaa. Hata ni kama amekuwa confused. Akaniuliza mama nani? Huyu ni co-wife. Nikamwambia hapana, ni sister bwanangu. Unajua ameambia baba nani aje? Hata oga asubuhi ataenda bila kuwa. Nikaambia msichana wa kazi, nikafikiria hakusikia vyenye wamesa. Nikamwambia hapana, hawezi fanya hii. Maybe hukusikia vyenye walikuwa na mimi hiyo mambo nikaashiria. Na tukaenda tukalala. Sasa the following morning nimeamka mapema kuprepare breakfast. na serve my husband breakfast. Mtoto anatoka bio huko juu, anaambia anko yake usituache. Sasa nikauliza msichana, unaambia anko yako asimuache na hamujakunywa kitu? Hata sasa my husband akamwambia hapana, nyinyi mtakujiwa baadaye, na akaenda. Unajua vyenye tu msichana wangu wa kazi alisema ndivyo kulienda. Hawakuoga. So, na nikaambiwa na mtoto wangu, juu watoto walilala kwa bedroom ya msichana wangu. Alikerelesha msichana wake mdogo akioga. Akamtukana. Hataki kuwa. Mimi sasa shida sijui. Na wakatoka, mimi nikawa serve breakfast. Juu hata sijui ni nini lakini vyenye nilikuja kujua, alienda akambia mamake nimewakataza kuoga.
Wewe ndio mwenye.
Yes, sasa nikauliza nyumba kuna showers. How can you refuse somebody to take a bath? Uwezi nini na si ati maji ya kuwekelewa. Sasa another time comes, huyu msichana tu sister yake ameniambia tumeinvitiwa Gishagi. Na nimeenda nikamwambia ukifika town nini niite twende. Kufika town akaniambia hapana, twende kwako first. Na tukarudi home na nikawapikia mchele. Sasa kuna msichana mwingine nilikuwa na yeye saa hiyo. Tumeenda wote mpaka msichana wa kazi Gishagi. Unajua alienda kuambia msichana wangu wa kazi yangu. Alimuuliza kama unampea ruhusa mara ngapi? Sijui nini. Akashukua namba ya msichana wangu wa kazi. Sasa ni mimi tukiwa kwa nyumba. After tumekaa na msichana, nasikia msichana akiwa kwa bedroom yake akisema, huyo mwingine yako juu, mwingine sijui yako chini. Sasa unajua unaweza ona hapo ni nyumba inaongelewa.
Sasa ndio nikauliza how ni
in-laws,
your sister in-law. How about wazazi wake na wenu mkutane mtatue hii shida?
Alikataa. In fact Kenya amefanya, he has invited his cousins all the way from Nairobi to our place. And they came. And I didn't know. So mimi nikiwa it was on a Saturday. Mimi naona magari inaanza kuingia. Unajua sijui ni nini. Nikaona wameanza kuingia kwa nyumba wameketi. Lakini unajua wengine na wajua. Sasa nikaita one lady, bibi ya kasini yake, nikamuuliza mama nani? Ni nini? Hata yeye akaniuliza tu hivyo. Kuna shida? Nikamwambia hapana. Akaniambia tuliambiwa tukuje. Kwa nini? Nikamwambia mimi hata sijui juu hata sijatayarisha Kaniambia usishidanie hata usitayarisha Sasa hapa nikaitwa sitting. Na ni mzee sasa amekuja ameanza kuwapikia. Sasa nataka muone huyu this man how he behaves. Ameanza kuwapikia na akapika. Sasa after kupika amepika tu kuku na ugali.
Na wewe hauko kwa hiyo hesabu like when humsaidi kupika ama?
Si anapikia nje. Unaona ni estate. Ana akicha moto nje.
Yeye ndiye hapo anapika. Na alijakuambia umsaidie?
Hapana.
Sasa wale marafiki
wameketi huko na kazini zake wanamwangalia tu. Sasa asi akaitwa na tukaitwa. Sasa akaulizwa asema Kenya ulituiti? Sasa akasema anataka kuondoka kwa hiyo nyumba. Kwa nini? Hapana tu nataka kuondoka nimekasirishwa. Akaambiwa mmoja wao alikuwa he is very intelligent. I would say that man is very intelligent. Alimwambia ni sawa. Unasema unataka kwenda? It's okay. But you'll be providing as usual. You pay school fees. Then a woman anatakanga mahitaji yake. Takuwa ukirishia mama nani pesa. na nitakuwa nikifollow up kama unaweka pesa. Na si wameenda. Leta hata hakuenda. Ndio aliuliza unatoa nguo tu nini? Umesema utakuwa kwa hii nyumba.
Hakuenda.
Hapana. Hiyo jioni alikuja kwanza na hasira sana. Akakuja kutoa mlango.
Kung'oa mlango gani?
Kung'oa mlango.
Gani hiyo?
Ya nyumba ya ndani.
Kwa nini?
Ndio nini? Sasa kwenye tumejifugia anang'oa. Na nikapigia hao nikawaambia vyenye tu mliondoka alirudi na hasira sasa situ na akarusha nini nje. Naona mattresses zote akarusha nje kwa chaba.
Zenu. Sasa Faith, nikuulize, how are you coping up with all these things knowing that wewe ulikuwa umejisaidia, ulikuwa na kazi, biashara, you are doing well, but look at your life now. How are you living these things?
Before I was living, it was bad. Juu nilikuwa hata nafikiria in kitabu I was depressed. But now I can say God is good. Mungu by the way sijawahi fika mwisho. Kuna tokeanga tu mtu. And I tell women, bwanako asikufanyie kitu useme ati I will revenge. Yenye anafanya mimi nifa. Don't do it.
Okay.
Usirevenge kaki vyako, Mungu anashughulikianga mtu.
So that is your word to the women.
Don't do that don't do what they are doing. Let them do. Mungu tu ndiye huwa analipisha.
Right. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us.
Yes.
And we hope that it will get better. Now I don't know, we cannot give your contact details. So I don't know how you can get support. I don't know, it's a support group or maybe counseling would help.
Yes, I will love counseling. Hata kama counseling, I would say mtu first you counsel yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't counsel yourself, even if you go to those counselors, yes, they will help, but you first you accept yourself, accept the reality that this is what is happening. If you cannot, by the way, vacate. Kama uko hapo, you have to counsel yourself. Whether you kana jipe nguvu.
So are you remaining in this marriage because of your children?
Yes.
Or
it's because of my children. Kingori, I tell you, it's my children. Because if I was alone, but I will say children are blessing. And I can't leave my children. Because I will say here, these men frustrate people so that you can live your children. Yes.
And then what happens?
You leave your children, then he brings another lady. Yeye anataka kukuondoa. Si ati ana nini? Ni wewe. He is targeting you. Where you have seen where people are even told they are mad. A woman is told he is mad. Dia watoto akienda na hiyo narrative ati wewe ni mwenda wazimu. Definitely watoto utanyang'anywa. That is what they are doing. And they are using money. I will say they are using money. Yes. Money is the root of all evil. Unaenda hata mimi ni mara mingi nimeenda huko police station. Yes. To report cases. Like this case that there is rape in marriage. Watu wanajua hivyo, na lakini watu wanashakanga ati hakuna rape in marriage. There is. Yes. Sasa mtu akikuja kunyonga na piro, you are not even breathing. He is doing that thing when you are not breathing.
Really?
Yes, you can even die. He did it. Yes, it has happened to me. And I reported to GBV. Yeah. Unajua wakaniandikia vizuri, nirudisha niende police. Those men were laughing.
Were laughing at you?
Yes. There's no rape in marriage. How can you be raped by your husband? They laugh at you. When you have been even yani you have been tortured. Amekuumiza hata kutembea uwezi.
So sorry.
Those men, those policemen and police women. Mungu tu ndiye atanini.
So sorry about what
you are not doing your work.
They should I think they should be taken through a training that
yes,
such things, such cases happen.
Like there is a time I reported the same case to one lady, police woman, woman. Adi akaniambia atanisaidia. Hata alinionyesha picha zake, ananionyesha hata mimi nilikuwa nafanyiwa hivi na bwanangu. So unajua utamwamini. Kaniambia huyo bwanako akikuja, juu hakuwa in the area, alikuwa ameenda Dubai. Akirudi kama niliripoti ya scam. Lakini hata kabla sijaenda alikuwa ashainvitiwa huko. Na nikakuta ameketi. Wameketi wanaongea, wanacheka. Na mimi sasa nimeingia, nakuta huyo polisi woman ananiuliza, anaendelea tu na kuongea na yeye, lakini huyu bwanangu ananiuliza, sasa huku kwa nani ulikuwa umekuja kufanya nini? Na madharau. Naye huyu mama anamuuliza, nani ulituletea nini kutoka Dubai? Anamuita jina vizuri sana. Unajua nilitoka tu nikawaasha. Nikatoka nikilia. Na mimi huwa naambia wa mama, don't report. Kama nini usireport. Kama bwanako akana pesa don't. Utaashwa hapo.
Pesa itatumika.
Atatumia everything. Anaweza hata wapea pesa mingi sana.
Kuliko yenyewe anakupea.
Si hata kuliko hakupeani hata shilingi, lakini hao watawapea pesa.
Nilikuwa nataka kuuliza. Sasa wewe huwa anakupea pesa ya kiasi gani?
Hakuna.
Nothing. Pole sana mami. We hope for the very best. We hope that it has lightened your burden because of sharing it out.
Yes.
It's off your chest. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Tuko family, that's the story of Faith. Do you relate with her story, or have you witnessed similar cases? We would like to hear from you. You can put it down there on the comment section, and let's support such people with thoughts, positive thoughts, and when they come to you for help, just provide that help for them. My name is Kimori Wangeshi. This has been my story right here on Tuko. Thank you so much for watching.